On the minutes, please. All right, we have a motion on the minutes with a second. With no objection from the council, the minutes will stand as recorded. Ordinances on first reading this afternoon. We have several planning items, 6A through K, that we went over last week in planning and zoning. Are there any questions or comments concerning any of these items? Councilman Ledford.
Chairman, thank you. Item D, which is in my district, I will be making a motion tonight to table this item. There has new information has come from CDOT that needs to be considered and has some grave concerns that I think we need to give time for the applicant to work out with RPA and also CDOT. So I'm going to be moving to table that so we can have the space we need in order for that to happen.
And that's item D.
That's item D, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to highlight item K. Karen, could you come forward, please? If council, you'll notice we have an alternate version to item K, which is what I'll be calling for this afternoon. Could you give us a little brief rundown on the alternate version?
Yes. So last week I'd presented some amendments to the RTZ zone, the residential townhouse zero lot line zone, and noted really kind of there were three buckets of changes: setback reductions within the urban overlay, outside the urban overlay, and then just some changes to the site plan process. There were some concerns expressed about the reduced setbacks outside the urban overlay. Currently, the setback in the R1 zone is only 5 feet for a side yard setback for basically kind of new developments. So the alternate version only addresses reduced setback requirements for within the urban overlay zone and removes the site plan requirement. Again, that's redundant. We already require a site plan, so that will still continue to happen. So the alternate version is only reducing setbacks within the urban overlay zone. And that is really was the staff's main concern and main interest in presenting this to Planning Commission and Council, because that enables us to have that tool for appropriate urban development within the urban overlay with those reduced setbacks.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments on this alternate version? And that is the one that I'll be asking for tonight. All right. See no questions. Thank you, Karen. We'll go now to resolutions. 7A, Madam Clerk.
A resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Scott Martin as the administrator for the Department of Parks and Outdoors.
Not seeing any lights. B, please.
A resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Dan Ritter as the administrator for the Department of City Planning.
Chief, you want to come up and I raised this question, and I guess it was just me not understanding the complete process. Let me get Councilman Ledford's light before I ask my question.
Sure.
Go ahead, sir.
Chairman, I'm going back to the resolutions under Mayor's Office, A and B. When I hit my light, I just wanted to share with the council that if you hadn't had an opportunity, I did spend time talking to Mr. Reuter for about 45 minutes and Mr. Martin for about an hour. And it was an extremely positive conversation. I could read you the resumes. You have those on file, but the energy and passion they have, I think, for our city was just very interesting. It really struck me as to when I said, why Chattanooga? Why did you apply? You could go anywhere in the world. And I was just really impressed with I think where their hearts were, but their qualifications are off the charts. There's no doubt about that. But I wanted to share with you that I did take the time to have those phone calls. And I'm very excited. Mr. Reuter obviously will be appointed or on the agenda for RPA director as well as city planner.
Yeah, the administrative.
Which I think may be where the chairman might be going here in a second. But and that position now has been open for quite a while, and his credentials are really quite amazing in his vision and communication. I think priorities are something that, as a chair of that committee, I'm looking forward to working with.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. And that's where I was going with with B. I guess just to eliminate any confusion, if you'd sort of explain the dual role that
Yeah,
Mr.
absolutely.
Router may be playing.
Yes. So, Council, we are very excited to be bringing Mr. Dan Reuter forward for your confirmation and his appointment as the administrator of the Department of City Planning. This is actually one of the more complicated appointments that we have to make as a administration because it involves multiple governments as well as multiple branches of this government. So, Dan, in his role as administrator of city planning, will also assume the responsibility of executive director of the regional planning agency. And that Department of City Planning was created during the reorganization of government to create synergies between our teams at Regional Planning Agency, which exists underneath our Department of City Planning, and some of our more implementation or tactical planning efforts around sustainability, around capital planning, around transportation design, and to have those teams who often have either similar backgrounds or complementary backgrounds working together under the same departmental roof is really exciting. Dan's experience at the Atlanta Regional Commission and in other cities is really exciting because I think he brings a depth of experience to the planning process. Where I said this gets complicated is that as council, after the mayor makes the appointment, you have the opportunity to confirm. That's pretty normal. And then the next step is a little bit more unusual. Normally, the executive director of the regional planning agency is a joint appointment with the regional planning commission, particularly the executive board of the regional planning commission. It's a 5-member body, which includes the council and commission representatives from the city council and county commission, plus the 2 mayors, city mayor Kelly and county mayor Coppinger, plus the chair of the regional planning commission. So that would be the next step for Dan to assume his role as executive director of the regional planning commission. Recognizing that this was going to be kind of a complicated process, Todd Lehman, Karen from our team at Regional Planning Agency, as well as Mayor Coppinger and Mayor Kelly were involved in the interview process as we selected from a pretty competitive pool of candidates for this position. So we're excited to have a leader in both the administrator of city planning role, which is a new city department, which will also be sort of the lead planner. So I know it's as clear as mud, but just wanted to go ahead and clarify that.
Okay. I think, as I said last week, we're still all confused, but we're just confused on a higher level. So
Always happy to bring that.
we thank you for that.
Yep.
All right. I don't see any other lights. So moving now to 7C, please.
A resolution approving a special exceptions permit for a new liquor store located at 7703 Lee Highway.
All right. Councilman Ledford.
Chairman, unless you want to field this one, I think there's a deferral that is requested by Councilwoman Burrs, but
There is.
I'll defer to you, sir.
No, that, I was going to say I received an email, Karen, and I received an email this morning, and Councilwoman Burrs is not going to be able to be with us this afternoon, and she did request that this be deferred for a week. So if it'd be the pleasure of the council for someone to see fit to make that motion. Thank you. All right, council, that completes all of our agenda items for this afternoon. Are there any items on our purchase sheet this week that we need to, that we have any questions or concerns about? Mr. Goldberg, do we still have an item that we need to withdraw today? What happened?
Shocked me.
You're electric.
Yes, sir. I am electric.
Do
I'll
what?
do the electric slide out of here in a minute. Yes, there are 4 purchases. The third item listed, which is request to increase the purchase order with Gallagher Benefit Services. We would like to withdraw that. We're not fully comfortable with the amount yet, and we need to do a little more work to determine what's going to be needed. So we would like to go ahead and withdraw that for this evening.
Okay. Councilman Ledford?
Chairman, just a quick question on that. Can we do that now, or do we need to do that? At
We
6
will do
o'clock?
that at 6 o'clock.
At
during
6
our
o'clock?
Regular
Okay.
meeting,
All right,
yes.
thank you.
All right. I don't see any other questions, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, looking to January the 18th. Do we have any questions or comments concerning any item on our January the 18th agenda? Councilwoman Hill.
Thank you, Chair. Under item 7A, it's under Parks and Public Works, Parks and Outdoors. Given that we are going to be considering bringing on an actual parks director, I would just like to have a little data or information about the decision to go ahead and increase our contract with the design workshop for $71,000 for total asset management, statistically valid survey, and data coordination. This is a big spend when we're about to get a new leader. So can somebody?
I'll tell you
talk
what,
to-
before we get too deep into the weeds, I believe that will be on.
You wanna talk
be
about it in
be
Parks and
covered in
Rec?
committee.
Okay,
That's
fine.
And typically I'll try to make that notation that.
sure. Yeah, I can wait.
Any parks or public works transportation items would be covered in
Okay.
committee if we can cover that then. All right. All right, moving to future considerations. Anything on our future considerations that is a concern? Questions or comments? All right. Seeing no lights, is there anything else that needs to come before the council at this time before we go to Parks and Public Works Committee? I do have one item that I would like to address, and I don't know if Chief wants to take this or Joe, our firefighter that was injured, I think on Sunday or Monday, one of the two. It's my understanding that he has been released from the
That's right.
hospital and.
Chief, do you want to give a quick update?
Well, come on down and talk to us.
He has been released and he is at home now recovering. He's doing well, sore, but other than that, he's going to make a full recovery.
Okay. And Chief, it's my understanding this was a vacant building, correct? A condemned building?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And it was like the third or fourth time that we have responded to this site?
We had a previous history with this site.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Joda? I think at some point and probably during a strategic planning or in a public safety committee, I think we need to address issues like this. We have well, I can't even think of the name right now. We have a court set up to address.
Demolition court.
I'm sorry?
Demolition court.
Yeah, we've got a court set up to address items like this. And I think when it comes to particularly our first responders, public safety, we've got to address matters like this. If this building had been torn down, we've had history issues of having to go to this site multiple times. I mean, it's my understanding the whole brick facade fell off and, collapsed on the firefighter.
That's right. And
we need to start addressing these public health issues like this before we get to this point. And
the
obviously
mayor-
we can see that it's caused some problems for us.
Absolutely. The mayor completely agrees, and I'm happy to get something scheduled on strategic planning to talk about the best way for us to deal with vacant structures. We had a conversation today with our local city court judges around what our capacity is to address and enforce these issues, as I know council has been discussing for some time. So
Administrative hearing officer is what I was trying to say a while ago. I think
Sure.
they have a little bit more leadway there. And I just don't know that we're using them effectively, but I do think we need to address this issue. Councilman Ledford?
Thank you, Chairman. Chief, is that building owned privately or is that a city-owned building? Do you know?
I believe it's privately owned, but
Yeah, it's my understanding.
I'd have to go back and get some more
It's my
information.
understanding it's privately owned.
Okay. And I concur with the chairman's request on that. I think we need to look at, especially what we're doing as far as enforcement wise. with vacant buildings that have a track record, especially.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very glad our firefighter was doing okay. I texted with them yesterday and got a big thumbs up. Thanks for checking on me. But God forbid that would.
Is this something that the council would be interested in hearing on strategic planning on February 1st?
Let me look at the agenda for February 1st. But,
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, sooner rather than later would be great.
Yeah, we'll happily put together a presentation with some
all right.
options.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got that note, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Councilman Byrd?
Thank you, Chair. Chief, along with that presentation, in some of our poor communities, crack houses, houses that are sanctuaries for gangs, this happens a lot in our communities too. And it's so sad to hear about, what happened to a firefighter, and that's, I'm assuming, a commercial property. But we deal with this also in residential areas, especially in Avondale and I know in Eastdale. So we can also bring that into the fold as well. I would truly appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
We'll get it done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. All right, seeing no other lights, I'll yield the chair now to Councilman Hester for Parks and Public Works.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to say Happy New Year and welcome to Parks and Public Works Committee. Can we approve the minutes? Thank you, thank you. The 5 we've already discussed. Let's move on to 6, the first reading, ordinance 6. Madam Clerk, please.
In order to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 18, Article 3, Section 1852 pertaining to recyclables.
Thank you. See no hands. 7, please, resolutions.
Could I quickly,
Oh, wait.
sorry about that. On this item, we'd respectfully request to table this for right now. We have had a number of conversations with our Department of Public Works, and they are going to have a new administrator coming in soon, and we've had some questions from council members. And we think that in order to make sure that the community, our Murph and West Rock and our Department of Public Works are all aligned and on the same page, in order to resolve those questions faithfully, we'd like to table this discussion for now until Mr. Huck is able to take his role as administrator of the Department of Public Works.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I know that Councilwoman Hill has some questions regarding that, so thanks for informing us of that. 7, please. We can't insane, right? 7, please.
7D, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to execute a second amendment to the Environmental and Economic Infrastructure Improvement Plan, E2I2, an interlocal agreement for cost sharing between the City of Chattanooga and the Hamilton County Water and Wastewater Treatment Authority as part of the City of Chattanooga's consent decree, and said amendment to extend the deadline to complete the project.
See no hands. E, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 1 final for Complete Demolition Services LLC of Carlton, Georgia, relative to contract number Y17005-202 East Lake YFD Abatement and Demolition Project for an increased amount of $2,562.50 to release the remaining contingency amount of $4,437.50 for a revised contract amount of $73,562.50.
I see no hands. Yeah, I believe that's okay. F, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 1 for Burns and McDonald Engineering Company for contract number W17-020201 Dobbs Branch Basin Improvements Phase 2, a consent decree project for an increased amount of $287,601.75 for a revised contract amount of $1,027,351.75.
See no hands. Let's go to next week. Resolution, Parks and Work Outdoors, 7A, please.
A resolution authorizing the interim deputy administrator for the Department of Parks and Outdoors to execute an amendment to the design workshop contract for the Parks and Greenways Master Plan, which includes the following alternate and additional scopes of work: total assessment management, statistically valid survey, and data coordination for an amendment in the amount of $71,496 for a new total contract amount of $291,496.
Councilwoman Hill.
Thank you, Chair. So just to bring back up this question, is this the right time for the council to be considering this addition to the contract? Or would it be more fiduciarily responsible to wait until we have our director?
So thank you for the question, Councilwoman. So we feel strongly as an administration that it is the right time to move forward, given that we have already deferred this for a year, and that a significant amount of our community engagement is hinged upon this passing. Scott has been filled in after the conversation that you had with him, and is on board. He is familiar with the design studio's work and feels excited about moving forward with the process.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You good, Councilwoman? Okay. B, please.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to execute the consent to assignment of all purchase orders for vendor number 751629, Civic Engineering and Information Technologies LLC to Concert Engineers LLC relative to the following purchase orders: on-call blanket contracts for resident project representative services, purchase order number 559788, and on-call blanket contract for professional surveying services, purchase order number 546283.
No hands. C, please.
A resolution authorizing the Department of Public Works and Transportation to award contract number T21002 Hardy Street extensions, including alternate scope for ADA ramps on the East Ridge side of Roanoke to Thomas Brothers Construction Company, Inc. for contract amount of $832,639.80, as shown in the attached bid schedule, plus a contingency amount of $83,263.98 for a total amount of $915,903.78.
I see no hands. D, please.
A resolution authorizing the Department of Public Works and Transportation to erect commemorative secondary street name signs on Healthy Street for Glenwood Drive to DeSales Avenue, designating and said portion of Healthy Street as Mary Ellen Locker Way.
Okay, no hands. Thank you again. And, Happy New Year to you again. Thank you. Thank you. Let us adjourn to 6 o'clock.